guys, FilmCrazyAdam here. Well, I'm about to go watch a movie that I've really been waiting all summer for. Super excited. I'm about to watch Equestria Girls 3, The Friendship Games. And how excited am I about watching this movie? Well, so excited that I have this app on my phone for countdowns and stuff, that it's been counting down for like about 2 months now. But there you can see 9 minutes, 32 seconds until Friendship Games starts up. And so I'm going to make this a little quick. But there's not really much I have to say because I'm stoked for this movie. I'm super excited. The first Equestria Girls movie, you know, I was a little wary going into that. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I loved it. I loved it, like, you know, this entire fandom, which has just captured my, just captured my heart along with so many people. I really liked the first one, and then when they made the second one, I loved that one even more. That one was even better. So, from what I've seen on the trailers on this one, I'm curious if there's going to be any interaction with Equestria in this movie, because in the first one, Sunset Shimmer steals Twilight's crown and escapes to this alternate human world, and Twilight follows her and recovers the crown and defeats Sunset Shimmer. In the second one, Sunset Shimmer is still in the human world, and Twilight comes to help Sunset and the other girls in the human world, and we were left with that teaser at the end of the second movie that shows the Twilight from that world still is there. And so I'm curious, and in the second movie, focus kind of shifted from Twilight being the focus and the hero to Sunset being, she had a journey of redemption and kind of became the new focus. She, like, the new linchpin, if you will, in this group. So, and from what I've seen on the trailers, they meet Twilight from that world, but I'm curious. I don't know if we're going to see any of our girls from Equestria here at Canterlot High, or in the other case, what is it, like Crystal Prep. So I keep looking. I love this countdown. 7 minutes. And so, I'm curious how they're going to go with the story. It appears from all the shorts that they put out online that Sunset is the new focus, and she in one of the shorts and in one of the teasers, she communicates directly with Twilight in Equestria through the book that acts as a conduit between the two worlds, or as an instant message conduit between the two worlds. And then, of course, she sees Twilight from this world, but she doesn't realize it's Twilight. Yeah, I'm curious if there's going to be any interaction between Equestria, or if it's just all going to take place in the human world, and Sunset is going to be kind of the new star of that alternate universe. Who knows? I can't wait to find out. I'm expecting to love this. What else? Yeah, this is going to be fun. I think this is really going to be fun watching, as opposed to Twilight being the one who is, she's in on it, because when she came in the first movie, she was the only one that knew she was from Equestria other than Sunset. And then in the second movie, they all knew about magic and all knew about Equestria. And now it's kind of changed so that Twilight is the one on the outs. I mean, it's not the same Twilight from Equestria, of course, but it's interesting to see that dynamic shift now, that as opposed to her being the only one who knew about all this stuff, now she's coming into the situation where everyone else already knows all this stuff. So I like what they're doing with this. I love the inventiveness and the different directions that they've gone with the writers for the Equestria Girls series. I don't know how. I mean, if they made more, I'm definitely going to watch it. I don't know if I really want them to make this like an ongoing thing. A trilogy might just be enough. I'm rambling at this point. 5 minutes. Side note on why am I doing this, because this is a went to the movies review, but it's not in movies. Well, that's not entirely true. There was one showing in North America in theaters, exclusive showing, one time only in New York. And if I remember, if according to Andrea Liebman's and I think Tabitha St. Germain's Twitter, a bunch of people were there. According to Wikipedia, a bunch of people were there. Most of the cast was there. I had no idea. Like, I've been searching on Fandango and the internet. I'm looking. I've been scouring for a theatrical release. I was so bummed when it didn't seem like that they were going to do that. So yeah, that was a bummer. And I was kind of resolved to the fact that, all right, I guess it's going to be on TV, but whatever. That's fine. I'm still going to watch it. And you know what? I was debating what I was going to do. Was I going to do like a live reaction video to it? But I don't know if when they put it on Discovery Family tonight, I don't know if it's going to be. I assume there's going to be commercials, and so I just figured, you know what? I'm going to do it like I went to the movies review. This way, I get my thoughts after, I do the review, or my thoughts before, I do the review after, and yeah, no reason I can't treat this like I went to the movies, especially since the first two were in theaters, which was awesome. Anyway, down to 3 minutes 55 seconds. What else? There was, darn it, what was the other thing I was going to say? Let's see. Whatever. Well, I guess now's as good a time as any. 3 minutes, 35 seconds. I'm going to go watch Equestria Girls 3. I'll let you guys know what I think. But right now, I'll tell you, this is going to be awesome. Alright, see you later. Hey guys, good morning. It's Sunday morning. I was going to film this last night, had every intention to. In fact, if you follow me on Twitter, last night I was live tweeting during the movie, and right after the movie ended, it wasn't the last tweet I sent out, but it was like right after the movie ended, I tweeted something to the extent of, wow, I really like that. Gonna film and post a review, but first I'm gonna watch the new episode of Doctor Who. And of course it's Twitter, so it was a lot more concise. But that's what I ended up doing. Now, I guess I was a little bit more tired than I thought I was, because it took me, because I switched over from Friendship is Magic to Doctor Who, and in the end I had to rewind like the last 10 minutes of that episode like 4 times before I finally stayed awake through the whole thing because I kept falling asleep. And then immediately just rolled over and fell asleep anyway. So, here we are Sunday morning. Let's do this review. First and foremost, what did I think about this movie? I liked it. I kind of knew it going into it. Friendship is Magic, right now, probably holds the #1 spot of things that I like in terms of TV and movies. It's my favorite thing right now. It just is. Now, not to say that's the only thing I like right now, but right now it holds my top spot. Hell, you know, I got the t-shirts, I got my Rainbow Dash hoodie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. That said, not as much as the first two. This wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't as good. It's like the difference between going to... Let me use a food analogy because I'm really good at those. And everyone can relate to food. It's the difference between getting a cheeseburger off the value menu at Burger King. You know, the little tiny cheeseburger, and then going to like an American cuisine restaurant or a really good burger place, and then getting the deluxe, the deluxe burger with like the fries and all the trimmings on the side. That's kind of the difference between Friendship Games and the other two movies. Now, again, I said I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie at all. That said, hold on. Yeah. Alright. Here's the countdown timer I showed you yesterday for that I had. It's been counting down for like a month now for Friendship is Games. You can see it's flashing 0. And then when I swipe it, haha, it's also counting down to the Blu-ray release for Friendship Games, which I've already, in fact, pre-ordered on Amazon, and it's going to arrive on October 13th when it comes out. So, I liked it. I've already paid for it, and I'm going to watch it again as soon as I get it. In fact, I'm probably just going to marathon all 3 of them in a row. But it just wasn't as good as the first two. Not saying that if you haven't seen it and you were planning to see it, please go see it. It's still the same characters that were established in the first two. Sunset Shimmer now is the main character in this one, and I kind of talked about that yesterday. I was like, I wonder if there's going to be any interaction whatsoever from Equestria on this one, because all the trailers seem to be trending in the way that Sunset is kind of the main character, and if that's the case, then Twilight, her from Equestria, you know, she would be like she'd be like a fifth wheel at this point. Plus, it would be, I imagine it would be really fun. I really do. It'd be really fun, though a bit confusing in terms of the Twilight from that world. Now, before I get too far into it, let's see. Let me think. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't give this too much thought. What direction I want to go in terms of what do I want to focus on in this review. I think. Let me tell you about the things that I wish they'd improved on. I'm gonna, not that there's any huge spoilers in this, but I'm gonna try to avoid things to a certain degree, and I'm gonna draw the similarities between the first two movies, what they did in the first two movies, which I think made it better. First and foremost, that I wish they hadn't done with this movie is they make it so short. The TV runtime on TV was 90 minutes, but this was on network television, so we had commercials going. The whole runtime of this movie is only 70 minutes. I'm not sure what the cutoff for feature film is, and if it is, I think this movie just barely makes it. But still, I wish they hadn't done a short movie. The other two movies are your standard 90-minute affairs, and that's great. And I'm wondering if that's why they just didn't do a wider release in theaters, because maybe theaters didn't want to run something that only ran for 70 minutes. I don't know. But that said, and I don't know if they had, if they just didn't have enough story, or they didn't have the budget, or they didn't have the time, because they put out an Equestria Girls movie once every year for the last 3 years. This year, last year, and the year before that. Yeah. So, I don't know if it was just a time constraint thing, because don't forget they kind of bounced back the premiere of season 5. Like, it usually premieres in the fall, like around this time. But for whatever reason, they kicked it all the way back till spring. So, you know, there was like almost like a year hiatus before the next before season 5 started, which was crazy. All survived it though. So here's why I wish they had made it longer. Not only do I just wanted more of the movie to watch, but this movie, a lot of it felt rushed. It really did. And it didn't seem... what was the focus of this movie? Because we bounced back and forth in this movie between Twilight, who seemed like a huge focus, and Sunset Shimmer. Honestly, I don't know which one of those characters was the focus. Not saying that you can't have two focuses, but they didn't seem to... I think they almost focused more on this world's Twilight than Sunset Shimmer. So, what am I getting at in that regards? Well, you need to know most stories, most successful stories anyway, you have a protagonist, and you follow, and you kind of just stick with that one character through the movie. Indiana Jones, you know, we stick with the protagonist. We stick with him through the whole movie. There are more epic, large-scale movies where there are more than one protagonist. Lord of the Rings, though arguably the Party of Nine, that's your protagonist, because you're always sticking with them. Just like in Star Trek, you have a crew of people, and each show kind of might focus on a specific figure, but more oftentimes than not, we're sticking with, we might be over here and focusing on these people, we might be over here focusing on these people, but ultimately it all kind of meshes together because they're all the same crew, and they all kind of, you know, circle back and meet up, you know, together at the end. So, what am I getting at with friendship games? We didn't seem to have too much of a protagonist in this one. In fact, if Twilight Sparkle was, the human Twilight Sparkle was the protagonist, you know, I wish we had focused more on her. if Sunset Shimmer was a protagonist, I really wish we had focused more on her. Both things I think they had to dial down on because they were constrained with a 70-minute window of time. Also, the characters of Crystal Prep. And you know what? I just remember I posted this. Andrea Liebman posted on Facebook. She was basically saying, "Hey, who watched it and what did you think about it?" And I posted something about I wish it had been longer. I liked it. I liked the other ones better, but I wish this one had been longer. And I pointed out why too. It's like in the first Equestria Girls movie, Sunset Shimmer is our antagonist, and we learn about her, and we realize what she's going for. I mean, she's kind of simple with the I just want to take over the world kind of thing, but she changes at the very end. In the second one, we have the Sirens, and each one of them, while trying to take over the world, they all have their own little personalities. You know, darn it, I wish I remembered all their name, but the blonde one, you know, she's very confident. She's the ringleader. She's the one that calls the shots. You have the red one, or the purple one, where she's kind of snarky and condescending and seemingly bored with everything. And then you have the blue one, who, you know, she's part of the group, but at the same time she's kind of carefree. She's kind of the Pinkie Pie of the group, I guess. She's carefree. She looks at things less deviously. She's more in it for the fun. She's kind of along with for the ride. She's just, I'm part of the group, so I'm going to go along with them. But, oh, look, it's Taco Tuesday, you know. So you had these villains, and they all had the same idea in mind, but they were different people. Each of them was different. Now, they tried to do, I think they tried to do that in the friendship games. The problem with the friendship games is you have Canterlot High versus Crystal Prep. And so you have this entire group of students, like 6 students at Crystal Prep, including Twilight. And Crystal Prep is also where Candace is. And other than Candace and Twilight, and maybe Shining Armor, literally everyone is the same note. Like, everyone's just a dick. Everyone's just a jerk. Like, if they're not winning themselves, they're not happy. And they're not happy when other people win. They're just universally one note. Everyone's the exact same. No one's happy. It sucks. I'm surprised that they didn't have some kind of high suicide rate there. Whatever. But so, they kind of introduce you notice the faces because they're paired up with the main 6. And yeah, in this case, it's the main 6 minus Twilight plus Sunset. So, those who are going to be competing with the Crystal Preppers, you know, it's one-on-one, 1 versus 1. So you have 6 characters that they introduce to you. And actually, introduce is being very generous, and that's a very strong term. They pop up. They're just there. And then you suddenly realize, oh, they're kind of reoccurring. They're more background than anything. I mean, they actually give them names. I was surprised with that. But they're all kind of the same. They're all just snarky and just, we're going to win and F those guys! So, everyone's just universally one note. And I was disappointed with that. Had you extended it further, had the movie gone a little bit longer, like 20 minutes longer, you could do a lot in 2 minutes, let alone 20 minutes. If you added 20 minutes to this movie, we could have learned more about these characters. You know, I'm not asking for their life story, but, you know, this one is the sports character. This one, she's angry, but she likes music. Like, give them something redeemable about them. Give them something that we can pull for. We're like, alright, this one is going to Crystal Prep because her parents are making her, but really she just wants to, you know, she wants to be a vet. And so, you know, that one, she would show a kinship to Fluttershy. You know, there's one that's a big sports one. They did have one, like, she had her headphones on, so I guess she was supposed to be the Crystal Prep Vinyl, though she talked, I think, like, twice during the whole movie. I was just really disappointed that your villains had no redeeming values. I mean, they're villains, so they're not supposed to have redeeming values, but I'm getting into my own, in my own film studies head, my own film theory. A villain has a goal. Now, whether they're right or wrong, they have a motivation behind the goal. Let's go with the Emperor. I know I'm getting really off topic. I'm going to circle back. Let me just make this one point. The Emperor from Star Wars. He's an ass. He's a jerk. He is maniacal. He is a psychopath. He's evil. Why is he evil? Because he's going to bring order to this galaxy. Dagnabbit. He has a plan. He knows what he wants. He's like, I'm going to bring order with the Jedi here, and with the Senate here, and the Separatists here. You know, we're not in order. Everything's not chaos, but you know, we're not of one mind. We're not one single entity. We're not a single government. So he has this plan to overthrow everybody and become the Emperor. Why? To bring order. And so you understand where he's coming from. You're like, all right, I see what you're going for. You're wrong in the way you're doing it. The ends don't justify the means. But I see where you're coming from. And I guess you can argue that in the Crystal Preppers, their motivation is just to be the best. But that doesn't mean everyone's a drone. That doesn't mean everyone's a copy of the same person. I mean, I'm kind of like answering my own questions as I do this, and that actually happens a lot when I say stuff out loud. Is that they're an army. I mean, you'd argue that. You're like, well, it's kind of like an army. All soldiers are basically supposed to be uniform, hence why they wear uniforms and stuff. You know, all of them, it's a number, not a name. And everyone is going towards the same goal, and their motivation is just to win. So it's basically an army. But I can just swing back to, swing the pendulum back towards Canterlot High and be like, well, you can argue that they're the same way. They want to win. They're just not so cutthroat about it. They're in it for the fun, which I can relate to a lot. On Friday nights, I have a group of friends from high school that we still get together, and we used to play like Smash Brothers, and then we did like Risk, the board game, and now we're kind of on Magic the Gathering. Well, I've been on Magic since high school. They're just getting into it. But anyway, my point being is that at the end of the week, we're all in it just for fun. Like, for the camaraderie of it, for the hanging out, for, you know, we get food, we sit down, we play some games, we crack jokes, we catch up on what everyone did. It's fun. We're not in it for blood. You know, it's just a friendly game of Magic. It's a friendly game of Smash Brothers. I mean, there's always a clear winner, and the winner's always like, yes! And the loser's like, oh, man. Well, next time I'll get you. It's for fun. And so that's how the Canterlot High kids are like. They're like, well, it's the friendship games, so I'm kind of in it for fun. I hope I win. I'm going to try to win. I'm going to do my best. And my point is that they're in it for the same thing. They're in it to win, but they're individuals. Fluttershy, AJ, Rainbow. Everyone is different, and everyone has their own individuality. So that's something that they could have expanded upon with 20 more minutes of film, or even 15 more minutes. I could have learned a little bit more about the villains. And this wouldn't be the only movie where they do that. Like, think about any Disney movie. There is a fair amount of time spent with the villains, so you kind of understand them, as opposed to just, they're just evil. They are just, they've got absolutely no redeemable qualities. They've got, whatever. I'm ranting at this point on and I'm going too far away from the movie. Let me circle back. Another thing I didn't really like is the way that they did the songs. I didn't say I didn't like the songs. I enjoyed them. They were fun. Still, I like the ones in the first two movies better. But, and this is a me thing. I know it's a me thing. Other people share the opinion, but specifically in this situation, this is a me thing. It annoys the hell out of me. It really does. That they shoehorn songs in. It's almost like the filmmakers think we have a prerequisite. Like, we have a number of songs and we gotta get them in to this movie. It's like we have 7 songs and they gotta get in somewhere. So we're gonna force them into this scene. And whereas in Rainbow Rocks, there were scenes that formed organically where singing made sense. whether it was just like singing over a montage, like they're cleaning up the gym in the first movie, and a song happens, and I need to go back and watch the first one. I don't know if they sing along with the song other than like the main six, or if it's just overlaying it. When they're getting ready for the party for the dance for the fall formal in the first one, it's a song over. It's basically a song over the montage of them getting ready. I even rolled with, in the first one, the song in the cafeteria, because it was something that was planned, as opposed to in this movie, more oftentimes than not, people are in conversation, and then like on the third word of the sentence, now they're singing. It's a song, like now we're not talking to each other, we're singing at each other. Where this is a conversation. It's a musical number. They break out into a musical number during normal scenes. Like one of the songs I liked. One of my more favorite songs, but also the one that pissed me off the most probably, was the last song of the movie, where at the end Twilight has this pendant, has this device which has been absorbing people's magic. I'll get on that in a second, actually. She has this device around her neck that absorbs the main six magic, and it's accrued everyone's magic at this point. And the principal of the other school is telling her, well, you should release it, and that'll make us win? What? Yeah. I'll get on to the don't worry storyline, I'm getting to you. But halfway through telling her that you need to do this, she starts singing to her that she needs to do this. And the other Crystal Preppers are like singing too and like circling Twilight. It's very reminiscent of the I think it's the Stop the Bats song from the Flutterbat episode, where they were talking and now we're singing about what we want to do, and now everyone's getting into it and we're just like dancing in the middle of like the gym. And it's not everybody, it's just us. It annoys the hell out of me. I don't know why it does, but I think it's the dumbest thing when you break out into song in mid-sentence and talk about your current situation, as opposed to, like, my example is, like, there was a movie where, like, people were at a diner and, like, halfway through, like, a conversation, they start singing about needing ketchup for their fries. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? This is stupid. So, I had a problem with that. And it happens more than once where it just starts singing. Like, Twilight walking through the school, I didn't have a problem with that, because you can argue that that's happening. It's a song that she's singing, but it's overlaying her just walking through the school. She's not busting out moves. People aren't like, banging lunch trays or tapping on the lockers to make the drum melody. I know, again, it's me. In this situation, this is my pet peeve. So, some of you might think this is, so why does he care about that? That's stupid. But I'm just, from my point of view, I thought that was stupid. Still like the songs, though. Now, let's talk about the storyline for a bit. The storyline is this. Every 4 years, it was very undefined, but evidently there's some kind of, like, mini Olympics or a competition between these two schools. For some reason, it's just these two schools. Now, there's plenty of schools that have rivalries where it's just the two. But usually it's something in the same town. Like my mom went to Bridgewater Raritan North, and I think like Bridgewater Raritan South was their main competition, because it was the same school, just north and south. Here, there's this town out in the suburbs, and there's this school out in the suburbs, and there's this prep academy in the city. I don't know why that they're competing with each other, but whatever. It's a kids' movie. I will roll with that. But no one knows what and Rainbow actually makes this pretty darn clear right off the bat. Like, we don't know what the competition is. We don't know what we're competing at. How are we supposed to get good at things if we don't know what to train for? she's like, I really hope there's a rock competition because we'd be awesome at that. And I was thinking that too. I'm like, I hope there's a rock competition so you guys can bust out a song. That makes sense. As opposed to shoehorning it awkwardly into a scene. But so, Twilight. So anyway, at Crystal Prep, Twilight is the greatest student ever in the history of ever. Or as I tweeted, the nerdiest nerd that ever nerded. And they want her to be part of the friendship games because she's their ace in the hole. Meanwhile, Twilight is... I mean, she could not be more nerd. All she has to do is, like, snort, and that might make her more nerd. But, oh my god, she could not be more nerd. She is so adorable. She has been studying these weird EM rays that have been coming off of Crystal Prep. And she makes... I don't know what she makes. She doesn't know what she makes. But she has a device. A locket that she wears around her, or a compact that she wears around her neck. I don't know what it does. Well, I do. I guess I know what it does. But she doesn't know what it does. She made the damn thing and doesn't know what the hell it does. Well, what it does is it absorbs magic. Specifically, the magic of the main six. How did she build a device that... I don't know, but she did. She builds a device that when the others pony up, and now when they're just... their powers, I don't know if they've evolved per se, or this is just how they've always been, and they just kind of personified each of their characteristics in their playing music. Because up until now, they play music, they pony up, as they call it, when the ears come up and the hair extends into the tail and Rainbow and Fluttershy grow wings. Well, in this movie, it's just them showing, their element of friendship, like Rarity with her generosity, and Fluttershy with her friendship. Everyone with their Pinkie Pie with her laughter. Whenever the six do this, they pony up. And Twilight's locket, opens up and absorbs them like a trap from Ghostbusters. In fact, she has this scanning device that looks like that device from Ghostbusters that locates ghosts. If you don't know what the Ghostbusters are, shame on you. Watch the original movie from 1984. It's still awesome. They're making a third one, aren't they? Yeah, they are. With Thor in it. That'll be interesting. Anyway, where was I? Right, Ghost Finder. So, she has this device that absorbs magic. It just does. It opens up. I guess it kind of sort of senses magic. I don't know. There's the display on the outside is just this circle with these different diodes in a circle. It never really explains what it does. It doesn't spiral in a circle. They don't light up individually. I don't know what it does. They never explain what it does. But she absorbs magic. And it kind of sucks the energy out of the six, and they're kind of oh man, that's oh, I'm out of energy. Oh, my head. But they recover soon after. And it's alright, whatever. And the more energy that this compact absorbs, it opens up, absorbs energy, and then Twilight always has to close it. The more energy she absorbs, though, it starts ripping open holes to Equestria. And generally when she closes the compact, the portals, the tears in space-time close up. And during the course of the movie, she just happens to be there when each one ponies up, and it absorbs into her locket. Again, no explanation. Why did she build this locket? They never explain. And she never explains. She just builds it. And I'm like, what? You had a device that scanned for magic, and okay, I get it. And it worked just fine. So why did you build another one which kind of not scans for it, but kind of like a compass points in the direction of magic, and then it absorbs it? Did you know it was going to absorb it? And how is it absorbing it? Usually you have to design something specifically to hold stuff within it. I mean, especially energy levels. You have to build something specifically for certain types of energy. and she didn't know exactly the type of energy that it was. But so, during the course of the movie, she absorbs everyone's. And the principal from Crystal Prep notices it at one point and tries to spin. By the way, she's very accepting of the fact that magic is a thing, that it exists, and that it's real. She just, at one point, she looks at Princess Celestia and Princess Luna, or Principal Celestia and Vice Principal Luna, and basically accuses them of cheating with magic. Granted, Celestia does a pretty good job. Celestia, Luna, and Candace do a pretty good job of, oh yeah, magic. Who's going to believe that? Because she's like, I'm going to bring this to the Board of Ed, and they're going to make you forfeit this round of the friendship games. And Celestia's like, oh yeah, tell them that we opened a hole in space-time where giant man-eating plants came over and tried to eat our students with magic. And our students grew wings and flew with magic. So, yeah. But she was really accepting of it at the time. She's like, okay, magic. I'm going to use this to my advantage. It's like, alright. So basically you're saying gravity is... That'd be like if somebody walked up to you and be like, you know that gravity is just optional, right? You don't actually have to obey that particular law of physics. And you just went like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, no more gravity. And so that leads to the one song number that I mentioned about, where the principal starts talking to Twilight. She has a better understanding of this device around Twilight's neck than she does. She somehow knows that Twilight has gathered a lot of energy at this point, and she tells her, we should use it to our advantage. So just open it up and release the energy. Why would you do that? Oh, man, like, what was the point of that? Why would you... What's gonna happen? Nobody knows! But your idea is like, yeah, we got a bomb. Let's just push the big red button. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? Come on, no, what? You don't know what it's gonna do. Twilight doesn't know what it's gonna do. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. And your idea is just to, like, let it out of the bottle? Or the compact? Literally, it makes no sense. I mean, you would think that she'd be like, here, like, open it up and throw it at the Canterlot people so it, like, turns them to stone or frogs or kills them or something. But her plan is just have Twilight open the locket and what? What was going to happen next? What in your mind, what did you see happening next when you're like, yeah, Twilight, just open the locket. Let the energy out. Let the magic out. I literally can't come up with something. I can't come up with a single damn thing. What was she thinking was going to happen next? I got nothing. When was this a good idea? We've got this giant ball of magic in this that's been, at this point, ripping open holes in space-time to the Everfree Forest, letting in piranha plants from Super Mario Brothers that are big enough to eat cars. And again, everyone's just rolling with it like, oh, I guess that's just how they do it here at Canterlot High. They just open holes in reality. And, but like, so you have magic doing this. And right now, it's all contained within this one locket. 6 different forms of magic contained in one locket. And your plan is just to open it up and release it. What was the next step? Where were you going with this? And so, when Twilight transforms, she gets hit with this magic. And Tara Strong, again, masterful in her voice acting. I mean, the entire cast is masterful, but I loved it how she went from quiet, demure, kind of church mouse librarian Twilight to I'm gonna to could not be more confident, a little bit of sexiness in the voice, and I'm just gonna destroy the world. Literally what she says she's gonna do. Basically, and I'm only kind of piecing this together, I think she starts punching, she transforms into something somewhat similar to Sunset Shimmer, the demoness in the first movie. Very similar, in fact. Not a color swapped version of that, but just along the same lines. Wings. She actually had a horn similar to oh, dagnabbit, the Changeling Queen. She grows a horn, she grows wings, and it has like Swiss cheese holes in it, like the Changeling Queen. Wow, I should go back and marathon everything. I really should. And she just starts using her energy attacks to just rip open holes in reality to Equestria. She doesn't know where she's ripping holes open to. We, of course, as the fans, and Sunset knows where it's going. But she's just ripping holes open, and it's kind of established, I think, by Sunset, that if you keep doing this, you're going to, you'll get to that world, but you'll end up literally destroying this one to do so. And Twilight's like, I don't give a flying F! I'm gonna do this because I got the power! So, Sunset, and again, things just kind of go in all sorts of different directions and stop making sense, and just, I did go, oh, what is this? Because the 6 main characters, or the 5, evidently they are magic batteries. Yes, they create magic when they personify what their friendship element is, but it's an endless supply of magic because, and I'm surprised this just didn't kill them. At one point, Sunset Shimmer instantly understands what the locket does. The locket, the compact, all it does is absorb equestrian magic, specifically from the main 6. I guess it absorbs from other people, but Sunset immediately rips open the compact after she sees Twilight walking out to the middle of the field during the final event, opens the compact, and the magic comes out. There's kind of an explosion. Twilight transforms, and the compact is on the ground. Sunset grabs it and basically, like she was a Pokemon master recalling a Pokemon to a Pokeball, basically points it at the other 5 and just absorbs their magic again. So they must feel great. They must be ready to throw up at this point. And then she just spikes it and then transforms herself. How did you know that was going to happen? And so she grows wings and a horn, and she looks very phoenixy. She looks kind of similar to the one short that was posted by Hasbro for this movie, or maybe it was post Rainbow Rocks, but I still like the song. It's watch the video online. It's a quick song by Sunset Shimmer called My Past Is Not Today, and also the one by Rarity, Life is a Runway. That's a good song too. Watch those when you're done watching this. But so she transforms into Twilight, and they have your classic energy blast, Kamehameha, firing at a Kamehameha. Something distracts Twilight, and Sunset's able to overcome her and heal her and protect her, and seals up all the holes in space-time, and everything's good now. But during that time, remember how I said all the Crystal Preppers were one-note jackasses, and they're just confrontational? They don't get along well. They are doing everything they can to not associate with the other students at Canterlot High, and they're just giving everyone the cold shoulder and being jerks and keeping everyone at arm's reach. Well, suddenly and not 2 minutes ago, they were singing with the principal, bullying, basically peer pressuring and bullying to a degree. Actually, the principal was blackmailing Twilight this whole time. Twilight wants to transfer to an independent study course, and so she'd be transferring out of Crystal Prep, and of course the principal has to put through her application to do so, and so the principal's like, yeah, maybe if you do these friendship games for us and win everything, then yeah, maybe I'll pass it along. And so it's that typical, every time Twilight kind of falters, it's like, I guess you really don't want to do independent study. And so the 6 students or 5 students that were just peer pressuring Twilight into releasing the magic with a song, are now running to everybody's aid. All the Canterlot High kids that are about to fall into the Everfree Forest and be murdered by plants and animals, they're about to fall into these holes, and the Crystal Prep guys come in and save them. And I was like, wow, that was an instant 180. No real explanation. I mean, up to this point, as established by their characters, you'd think they'd cut and run, be like, well, F this, I'm out. Or holy yes, we gotta get out of here and just run. Screw, every man for themselves. But for whatever reason, they're like, yeah, we'll save you. No indication that they would have done that before. So, and of course everything's good in the end. Twilight now goes to Canterlot High, and she's part of the group. And there's this funny scene at the end where, during this entire movie, Sunset has been trying to get in touch with Twilight Sparkle back in Equestria. And because Principal Celestia and Vice Principal Luna told Sunset, they're like, yeah, listen, you're kind of the first and foremost authority on magic at this point. You got to figure out how to control it, figure out how it works, because we don't want to be accused of cheating. And Sunset's like losing her mind like Twilight was in the second movie trying to write that spell. Sunset is losing her mind in this one. She's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how this works. So she keeps she keeps writing a letter to Twilight in the book, hoping for a response. And it just never comes the entire movie. Until finally at the very end, everything's been resolved, everything's hunky-dory, and the 7 are sitting around the portal statue that goes to Equestria in front of Canterlot High. You've got Sunset, this world's Twilight, and then the other 5. And Equestria Twilight comes running out of the portal. Oh my god, I just got your message. What just happened? And like comes face to face with herself, like, awkward. So that's kind of this movie. That was kind of my issues with this movie. Is that I thought it kind of lost itself towards the end. Though I think I said that with the first one as well. If I gotta rank these movies in this trilogy, my favorite is Rainbow Rocks, Equestria Girls, and then Friendship Games. That being said, in all this, I didn't say I didn't like it. As a reviewer, I'm doing my job. I'm pointing out the inconsistencies and alright, that could have been better. But I still enjoyed it. We still got the characters that we liked. And it was actually interesting to watch this new take on Twilight. Like I said in the before part of the movie, Twilight in this movie she's an outcast. As opposed, she's very similar to herself at the beginning of Friendship is Magic. Though she had more confidence as a pony in Equestria. This Twilight, it actually hurt a little. I felt the feels right here because it was so relatable for me as a kid. Not that I was some kind of brainiac. I was average at best. But I was an outcast. I was that one that walked around and, I didn't have any great sports skills. I was a nerd. And so, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, if you were a nerd, life kind of sucked. It was not cool to be smart. It just wasn't cool. You were a bully target if you were a nerd. So, her experience in Crystal Prep was very relatable. So, seeing Twilight being very timid around people, being very unsure, and other people bullying her, and other people, being snarky and condescending, and her kind of taking it seriously, and like when she gets on the bus, and the one student's like, "Are we gonna win?" And Twilight's like, maybe. That was literally me. That was me. And then of course they're like, "No, what do you think?" I'm like, well, we're pretty good, so I guess we're gonna win, but nothing's for certain, and who knows? Maybe they've gotten better, and I don't. Okay, I'll just be quiet. So that was very relatable to me. So it was cool watching. It was cool watching AJ and the others befriend Twilight. It was also interesting watching and like her like it was during the one part where she's doing like the archery part of the competition, and she's so unsure about Applejack. Like Applejack comes over because at this point Twilight, it's just pathetic how Twilight, well, not pathetic, she's good, but she can't lead a shot on the arrow because of the moving targets. She helps out Twilight, and the entire time Twilight is completely on edge, like, what's going on? What is she doing? Is she helping? Why would she? I don't know what's going on. Like, you're scared. You're scared because generally people don't do that, and if they do that, it's generally to kind of make fun of you. So, so it kind of touched me in the feels. It kind of hit me in the feels how I was able to relate to the part of Twilight. So, yeah. Oh, let's see, what else about this movie? I guess that's kind of everything. Everything I really need to touch on. The story I don't think was up to par what we've seen previous. I mean, it's still along the same lines of My Little Pony, but I wish they had done more with it. Again, if they had added 15 to 20 more minutes, I think this movie could have been so much better. I enjoyed the songs in it. I enjoyed seeing seeing Sunset and the other 5 girls and Celestia and Luna. It was good to see that they had more of a part in this one. It was good to see Cadence in this one. Did I call her Candace earlier? Well, anyway, Cadence. It was good to see Cadence and I guess the one line from Shining Armor. And it was good to see Twilight. It was similar to the beginning of Friendship is Magic, where Twilight is becoming friends with them all over again. Like, we're seeing her become friends with them all over again, like she did in the first episode of Friendship is Magic, where she's just meeting them for the first time. They all kind of know each other because in Friendship is Magic, they all lived in Ponyville together, and so they were all kind of aware of each other, and they all kind of knew each other to some degree, to some acquaintance level degree. But they all came together for Twilight. Now they're this group of friends. In this one as well, that was actually kind of funny when Twilight first arrives at Canterlot High, and literally everything. Hey Twilight, hey, what's going on? Hey Twilight, how you doing? And she's like, why do people know my name? And then of course she walks into the room where the 6 are doing their music, and they're like, Twilight! And she's like, oh God, not you people too. Who are you people? Why do you know my name? So that was amusing. But, yeah, like I said, this movie, I liked it, and it's going to arrive at my house in just over 2 weeks. But had it been longer, I think it would have been better. I really honestly believe that. While I was not thrilled with some of the way the songs played out on screen, I still enjoyed the songs, I still enjoyed the story, and as always, I do enjoy the overall message, which is always, and they even underlined it at the beginning of the movie. It's like, isn't the point of the friendship games to be friends? And they're like, yeah, but they kind of take it too seriously. These crystal preppers and their competition with us, they kind of take it a little too seriously. And now at this point, it's become a legacy for them. You know, they can't not win, or else their record has been broken, I guess. The world continues to spin and whatnot. So anyway, I enjoyed this movie. I think anybody who is a fan of Friendship is Magic, and especially the Equestria Girls series, I think you'll enjoy it too. I did notice at least one tweet last night that is on the same page as me, basically like, I like saying that they liked the other ones better. Check it out though. I think you'll really like it. I guess that's all I got. So, after this, I have, it's not a Mattel, but the next one to the movies review that I'm going to do is probably going to be Gem and the Holograms. Why? I'll tell you about that when I do my before movie went to, my pre part before going to the movies, before I went to the movies. Yeah, I'll explain it then. Other than that, I'm going to see Hotel Transylvania today, and I saw Black Mass on Friday, so I'm going to do a quick review for those two as well as a quick review for this. Anyway, check out the movie. You really enjoy it. Talk to you guys later.